up, everyone? It is your girl, Jill Beauty 7 here, aka Grace, and it's time for another battle of the. So, as soon as I saw this palette from Beaute, I was like, don't they already have a palette similar to this? And of course they do. It is the Oceanic palette. So I decided that we need to do a battle and see how similar the formulas and the colors are together. Because as you see, when you look at them in the pan, it's like, ain't that the same palette? They just added a brown and a brighter green instead. Like, what's going on here? So we need to know. And y'all know I'm here to give you all the tea. So we're gonna get into these palettes. So I'm gonna do mainly a monochromatic blue look, because I'm gonna test out the blues mainly in here, because I feel like there's more blues than greens in my personal opinion. And since this is a bluish greenish palette, I figured we can try it out and see how they go. So this is a palette that's actually on my eyes right now. I literally just got done filming the original video for this eye look. So now we're gonna get into using Oceanic. So I'm gonna use Oceanic off camera, and then I'm going to use the newer palette on camera, and then we'll see how the colors coincide by each other. I got so many eye looks to film today, y'all. So I still got like 4 eye looks to do, and I've already filmed like 3 eye looks this morning. So yeah, it's a lot going on. But anyway, I will talk to you in a few minutes after I get this eye look done. Okay, girl? Okay. Okay, so this is the eye look I was coming up with the Oceanic palette. So I swatched the shades we're gonna use here, what they look like. So as usual, y'all know I did Oceanic, then Envy, Oceanic Envy, Oceanic Envy, Oceanic Envy, and Oceanic Envy. So those are the shades that I put on the eye. I feel like these kind of muddy together once I put them on. Just interested in me, because I feel like when I used the Envy palette, it didn't do that. So I'm like kind of confused about it. But here's the shades we're going to use in this palette. So I'm going to use this shade right here. I'm pretty sure I'm using this shade on the lid. It's going to be our inner corner shade. And these two are going to be on our outer V. So that's what I'm working with. Put some eyeshadow primer. Funny thing is, I was sitting here watching Betty Jean rate her last palette, and she was like talking about the Scooby-Doo palette and how, you know, basically she was being polite about how they, you know, basically copied her palette or whatever for a lesser price point than she did with like Shroud. And like, I was like, okay, she's very polite about it, because I wouldn't have been, you know, that nice about it. But I feel like she's very classy in her response on it. But it did get ranked at the very bottom. I think it was like, she had like 11 rank, and it was like number 10. I was like, And she's talking about how the mattes weren't nearly as good as like the mattes in her palette. And I was just like, yes, the shade, the shade. But y'all, I'm just hiding it, so I was all like, yes, drag them, drag them. I was like, I need to calm down though. So I'm gonna take the shade Covet and put that on that outer V. So I feel like this shade is much deeper than the one on the other eye, but I'm like, it's cool. Remember, I didn't use any of these shades when I did the initial look. I used different shades because I told y'all I wanted to try to focus mainly on doing a more bluish monochromatic one. That didn't necessarily work because I wanted to see how the greens worked in the Oceanic versus this one. Well, so I tried to do a good like kind of variety between the two. So I got one more eye look I need to do after this, but I'm trying to decide if I want to rush and do it this week, if I want to do it next week, because I know I've got one that's for a collab video that I need to do today. And then I got the new other palettes, and this brand is the one that y'all really be crazy about. So I'm thinking I'll just wait till next week to do it, just because I don't want to tire myself out. And now I got 3 new palettes coming to my house today that I need to use. So I'm thinking we just gonna work with those instead. So let's go into the navy shade now. It's called Crave. And I feel like the shade is getting more of a royal bluish purple look to it than the one that came in the Beaute, and then came in the Oceanic palette. They both Beaute. So I'm just kind of like, I'm still dusting over the top of this though, because I swatched them, so I figured I'd use both of them. And like I told y'all, I don't know, for some reason I'm into this deeper colored brow bone situation for right now, so I'm just gonna go with it. Why, I don't know, but yeah. Because people usually do the total opposite, but you know, me, I just have to be different. Now I'm gonna get into this Envy palette and take a deeper, grungier, greenish shade and start dusting it along like I did on the other eye. I still want to dust that off. I dug into the lighter green at the top, but I dusted it off so it shouldn't affect what's going on there. And as you see, again, I feel like the eyes look pretty similar in tone right now. Like they both have a darker color. This shade is a little bit lighter than this one, but I feel like both these inner corner shades are looking the same. Both the outer V's look somewhat the same. This one to me is a tad bit lighter than this one, but it's not enough to where you could be able to tell the difference. Like if I told you 2 different palettes on my eyes right now, I feel like you wouldn't be able to tell, other than the fact that the shimmers are still, you know, on it and whatnot. But let's take the glitter glue now, and then we'll get into the shimmer shade. I can't find the top of my glitter glue, y'all. I don't know what happened. It like fell on the floor behind where I'm sitting, and I haven't seen it since. So I'm just like, oh, okay. And I got boxes all over the floor with all different palettes I need to take back home while I'm doing reviews for later on, y'all. It's just a whole hot mess. I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. So now I'm taking the shade Illusion, this one right here, and that's what's gonna go all over our lips. So like it's just a little gold top I need to seal this glitter glue with that I don't know where it is. I will say I like the green in this Envy palette a little bit better than I do the one in the Oceanic palette, but it's not by like a whole lot. It's just like a tad bit more. But see, again, I feel like you can't tell too much of a difference in between the both of them. See, I feel like they still look pretty similar, and you can't tell that I used a totally different palette. I'm gonna just dust back over. I'm not gonna add any product. Whatever product is already on here from me not fully blending it out, I will just use to make the outer V work a little bit better. Then I'm gonna take the brush with the blue, kind of dust over it a little bit more too. I'm really loving the blue shade from the Envy palette a little bit more as well. But again, I feel like right now, can y'all tell the difference? Because I can't, I just put it on my eyeball. I don't know. They look the same to me. So now we're going to go into the shade Rival. And pop that in the inner corner. Now this to me is more of a duochrome. I don't know that I necessarily feel like the one in the Oceanic palette is a duochrome, but it is pretty simple. So here is the finished eye look. I feel like the only difference you see is in the inner corner, because I feel like both the colors, again, just like the last palette, the palette look the same. So let's back on up and talk about my thoughts. So if I had to pick between these two palettes, I guess it depends on what your preference is. If you like more of a monochromatic, bluish, greenish type palette, then I figure you should go ahead and go with the Oceanic one, because I feel like it has more variety and gives you a few pops of bright greens to go with the blues as well. Whereas I feel like if you're into more grungy kind of jewel tone colors, I feel like you might like this one a little bit better. Believe it or not, I prefer the Envy palette over the Oceanic. You think I'd probably like Oceanic better because I get more varieties of green. I don't know, but something about this one that I just like a little bit more. So if I had to pick between these two, I would pick the Envy palette. But if you already own the Oceanic palette, as you can see, you can get similar looks with it because I use both of them and I had it's pretty much the exact same look. So those are my thoughts on the palette. Oh, I meant to show y'all the Whale Song palette with this palette earlier on in the last video, so I'm gonna show it to you now so you see they're not exactly the same. But this is the Whale Song alongside the Envy palette. As you can see, they're somewhat similar, but they're not exact. I just want to show both of them because they were both here, we were here, you were here, everybody was here, y'all know the drill. But yeah, I say Envy wins for me over Oceanic, which I never thought would be the case because I remember drooling and salivating over the Oceanic palette when it first came out. But you know, the formula wasn't right and I knew it wasn't gonna be right, so I didn't even waste my time buying it. So now that it reformulated, I'm glad to have it in my collection, but I think I'm gonna enjoy the Envy one a little bit more. But I'll definitely be doing palette combinations with both of them since I have both of them, and I can take advantage of the brighter greens to go with that Kelly green shade in the Envy palette. So those are my thoughts, but I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you all are diamonds. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye.